Battle of the Brains, presented by Virginia 529, Central Virginia's ultimate high school academic quiz show. Today's match features Western Branch High School versus Louisa High School. Let the battle begin.
Hello and welcome to Battle of the Brains, Central Virginia's longest-running high school academic quiz show. I'm Cheryl Miller. Our competition welcomes teams from schools all across the Commonwealth of Virginia. The academic athletes joining us today are the Bruins of Western Branch High School. Their coach is Jordan Green. Western Branch High School serves students in grades 9 through 12 as part of the Chesapeake Public School System. The school enrollment is over 2,000 students. Also with us today, the Lions of Louisa County High School, coached by Tom Jordan. Louisa County High School opened in 1940, merging Mineral, Apple Grove, and Louisa High Schools. Today, over 1,500 students are Louisa County Lions. It's great to have all these students here with us today. Our match will consist of 3 toss-up rounds and a category round. Players will buzz in and wait for me to call on them. Any interruption of questions with an incorrect answer will result in a point deduction. There's no point deduction for an incorrect answer to a completed question. All right, students, welcome. Let's start the first toss-up round. 1973's Yom Kippur War was fought between a coalition of Egyptian and Syrian forces against what country? Rachel?
Israel?
Correct. In 1938, Joseph P. Kennedy, the grandfather of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., was appointed as the United States ambassador to what country? Andrew?
France.
That is incorrect. Louisa? Connor?
Canada.
It was actually Great Britain. In what sport can you get fired off the field as well as sacked on it? Ryan?
Football?
Correct. What fictional country is the setting of the Hunger Games trilogy? Jacob?
Panem.
Correct. Which U.S. city is known as the City of Brotherly Love? Andrew?
Philadelphia.
Correct. It can refer to a road or passage having no exit or to a situation in which no progress can be made. Jacob?
Dead end.
That is incorrect. Western Branch? Andrew?
Endless.
The word we were looking for is impasse. She was the last Queen of England before Queen Victoria. Who was this ruler of England during the 1701s? Ellison?
Elizabeth I?
That is incorrect. During the 1701 to 1714 War of the Spanish Succession. Seamus?
Queen Charlotte.
It was Queen Anne. Shark Tank shark Mark Cuban owns which National Basketball Association? Andrew?
The Mavericks.
Correct. Franchise. This time derivative of angular momentum is equal to the cross product of an applied force and its displacement from the axis of rotation. Name this rotational analog of force that's used to rate car engines and can be measured in foot-pounds or Newton meters. Seamus?
Torque.
Torque is correct. In 1912, Wilbur Scoville invented a scale to measure the heat of a chili pepper. The Bell chili measures 0 on the Scoville scale. What 2-word chili ranks highest with a score of over 2 million? Ryan?
Ghost pepper?
That is incorrect. Louisa? Connor?
Carolina Reaper.
That is correct.
That's what I was going to guess.
Born Cameron Thomas, what go hard or go home rapper gave himself what stage name that includes the Arabic word for successor? Rachel?
Eminem.
That is incorrect. Louisa? That would be Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
All right, teams, watch the screen and listen carefully. Here is a Virginia-based video question from a member of the Battle of the Brains Brainy Bunch, and you must wait until the question is completed before buzzing in.
In 2024, the classic Dodge muscle cars, the Challenger and the Charger, will only be available with this type of powertrain.
Rachel?
Electric?
That is correct. Who did Jimmy Carter defeat in the presidential race of 1976? That would be Gerald Ford. Steve made a fortune as an entrepreneur in the music business. Spell entrepreneur. Rachel?
E-N-T-R-E-P-N-E-U-R.
That is incorrect. Louisa? It's entrepreneur, entrepreneur. This student of chemistry made a stunning breakthrough that led indirectly to the deaths of his brother, his friend Henry Clerval, and his wife Elizabeth. Named this character in a Mary Shelley novel who created a monster. Rachel.
Frankenstein?
That is correct, Victor Frankenstein. And that buzzer means the end of our first toss-up round. A great job by our team so far, but there's a lot more questions to come. Up next, we'll introduce you to today's players, and then they'll take on the category round here on Battle of the Brains.
Battle of the Brains is always available. Find full episodes on YouTube and follow along with Battle of the Brains on social media. Welcome back to Battle of the Brains.
Here are the scores following the first toss-up round here on Battle of the Brains. Our team from Western Branch High School with 50 points. Our team from Louisa High School with 40 points. And we'll get back to our match and questions just ahead. But first, we want you to meet today's players. Let's first introduce our team from Western Branch High School. They are the Bruins. Their coach is Jordan Green. First up is Ellison McCleskey, who is a senior. Ellison plays the piano and the violin and hopes to major in college in international relations. Next up is Rachel Steiner, who is a senior. She enjoys reading, painting, and music and plans to major in environmental science. Our team captain is Andrew Kleisik, who is a senior, enjoys fencing, reading, and swimming. His favorite subject is history and social studies. And wrapping up our team is Ryan Durant, who is a senior, who is a principal bassist in concert orchestra and plans on studying astrophysics. That's our team from Western Branch High School. Good to have them here with us today. Also great to have our team from Louisa High School. They are the Lions, coached by Tom Jordan. First up is Seamus Tanner, who is a junior who enjoys badminton and drawing. Our team captain is Jacob Ryder, who is a junior, is part of Language Corner and also a musician. He plays piano, would like to study and performing arts at Juilliard. Connor Michael is a freshman, is the president of the Technology Student Association and enjoys writing. And wrapping up our team from Louisa is Cody Sharman, who is a junior, is a member of the Technology Student Association and would like to go to MIT and says he'd like to get rich by any means possible. I wish you luck, Cody. That's our team from Louisa. Great to have all the students here with us today. Now it's time for our category round. Each team will select one 10-question category from today's choices. If a team gets all of its questions correct within the allotted time, they'll receive a 20-point bonus. Teams, take a look at today's categories. These are ones from which you may choose. They are sports terminology, second, and state river boundaries. We do note that in this round, only the captains can officially answer for the team, though they may confer with their teammates to try to come up with the correct answer. And by the rules, the high score team gets first choice of categories. So that is our team from Western Branch. So Andrew, quickly talk it over with your teammates. Let me know what category you'd like to choose.
We'll do sports terminology.
All right, name the sport associated with the term listed or terms listed. The first is foils, parry.
Fencing.
Correct. Chuckers and ponies.
Polo.
Correct. Strikes, spares.
Bowling.
Correct. Blue lines and face-off.
Hockey.
Correct. Freestyle board and half pipe.
Gymnastics.
Would be snowboarding. Shooting circle, flick, and push.
Marbles.
Field hockey. Backcourt and press.
Basketball.
Correct. Blitz and safety.
Football.
Correct. Breaststroke, butterfly.
Swimming.
Correct. And finally, toe line, slalom, and jumping.
Skiing.
I need you to be more specific according to the judge.
Snow skiing.
It's actually water skiing.
Oh,
All right, good job on your category. Louisa, will it be second or state river boundaries? Jacob, talk it over with your team.
I think we gotta go second. We don't have state river boundaries.
We'll choose second.
All right, answer the following about things that are second or related to second. The first is singular second person pronoun.
You.
You.
You is correct. Quantity that in Newton's second law equals mass times acceleration.
Force.
Force is correct. Midwestern city where the Second City Comedy Troupe was founded.
Pass.
That would be Chicago. State where the second Battle of Bull Run occurred.
Virginia.
Correct. Musical pitch that is a major second above A natural.
B.
B natural is correct. Grass poison type Pokemon that is the second entry in the Kanto Pokedex.
Bulbasaur.
That would be Ivysaur. Quantity that can never decrease according to the second law of thermodynamics.
Entropy.
Entropy is correct. Second novel of the Hunger Games trilogy.
Catching Fire.
Catching Fire.
Correct. Second man to serve as vice president under Abraham Lincoln.
Pass.
Andrew Johnson. And finally, place found via the directions, second star to the right and straight on until morning.
Neverland.
Neverland is correct. That will get you there, they say. All right, good job with the category round by our teams. Up next, another toss-up round when we continue here on Battle of the Brains.
Miss a week of Battle of the Brains? Or want to catch up on a full season of Battle gameplay? Find full episodes on our YouTube channel. Welcome back to Battle of the Brains.
Here are the scores following the category round here on Battle of the Brains. Our team from Western Branch High School with 85 points. Our team from Louisa High School with 75 points. And now it's back to Battle of the Brains and another toss-up round. And just a reminder for our teams, you will lose points if you interrupt a question with an incorrect answer. The other team will then have the chance to answer. There is no conferring in the toss-up rounds. All right, here we go. What is the name of the peer-to-peer digital currency created by pseudonymous developer Satoshi Nakamoto? Connor?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is correct. It's an idiom meaning to be deceived. Finish this phrase. He swallowed it, hook, line, and what? Andrew?
Sinker.
Correct. The Pueblo Indians associated this nocturnal creature with Skeleton Man, the god of death and fertility. These birds of prey are divided into two families, true and barn. Rachel?
Owls.
Correct. What part of an insect corresponds to the human chest? Jacob?
The abdomen.
That is incorrect. Western Branch. Rachel?
Thorax.
Thorax is correct. It first appeared at sea around 1700. The name may have come from the French word for pretty and red, or perhaps from the Asian title Ali Raja, meaning king of the sea, named as skull and crossbones flag. Ellison.
The Jolly Roger.
Correct. All right, teams, watch the screen and listen carefully. Here's another Virginia-based video question from a member of the Battle of the Brains Brainy Bunch. And again, wait until the question is completed before buzzing in.
There have been 10 United States presidents born in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. Which president is the most recent?
Ryan.
Joe Biden.
That is correct. He was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Those known in Arabic as the Injil are holy texts in Islam, and the New Testament includes exactly 4. Rachel.
Gospels.
Correct. In the NBA, if a player makes more than 2 steps without dribbling the basketball, he or she would be charged with what penalty? Connor.
Traveling.
Correct. You may need your pencil and paper for this one. A quadrilateral has 3 angles of 80, 110, and 95 degrees. So how many degrees are in the 4th angle? Connor.
75.
Correct. What 1971 constitutional amendment reduced the voting age from 21 to 18? Ryan.
26th.
Correct. What is the technical term for nearsightedness? Seamus.
Myopia.
Correct. Which Southern Collegiate basketball program plays its home games at Cameron Indoor Stadium? Ryan.
LSU.
That is incorrect. Louisa? And that would be the Duke Blue Devils in Durham, North Carolina. Often brought out for holiday dining, it comes in bone and porcelain varieties. What type of plate shares its name? Seamus.
China.
Correct. Shames its name with the country. First made in China. What is the name of protein made by the pancreas that reduces blood sugar levels? Rachel.
Insulin.
Correct. Patrick Mahomes plays quarterback for which Midwestern NFL team? Ryan.
The Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs is correct. Keep that pencil and paper handy. What is the derivative of the expression 3x cubed plus 2y squared plus 6? Cody? Yes. What is the derivative of the expression 3x cubed plus 2y squared plus 6?
6x, oh, sorry, am I wrong again?
No, go ahead. You can give the answer.
6x squared plus 4y.
That is incorrect. Rachel?
9x squared plus 4y dy dx.
That is incorrect. It's 9y squared plus 4y. What stick is passed from runner to runner in a relay race? Seamus?
Baton.
Correct. Toussaint Charbonneau, 19th century French-Canadian trader, trapper, and scout for Lewis and Clark, was husband to what Shoshone Indian interpreter for the expedition? Andrew?
Sacagawea.
Correct. And that buzzer means one more toss-up round just ahead and will double the point value for our teams. Stay tuned to see which team is today's winner and goes on to play more here on Battle of the Brains.
Love Battle of the Brains? Ready for your high school team to play next season? Get in touch. Go to battleofthebrains.net to learn more. Welcome back to Battle of the Brains.
And here are the scores as we go into the final round here on Battle of the Brains. Western Branch High School with 195 points, giving them the points for the math question. I was given the wrong answer. They gave the right one, so they got the points for that. And our team from Louisa High School with, 135 points right now. So in this final toss-up round, the point score for a correct answer is doubled, and so is the penalty for an incorrect answer given before I finish the question. There's no deduction for an incorrect answer to a completed question. All right, teams, good luck. This is our final toss-up round. Vectors whose standard representations are at right angles to each other are said to be orthogonal. What is another term that means the same as orthogonal? Allison?
Perpendicular?
Correct. In January 2004, this representative from the state of California became the first female to be elected House Minority Leader. Who is this? Andrew?
Pelosi.
Correct. Later became first female Speaker of the House. Jake accidentally wrecked his dad's 1969 Corvette while showing off to his friends. Spell accidentally. Connor?
ACCIDENTALY.
That is
LLY.
incorrect.
Sorry.
Judge is saying no. No correction. Western Branch? Rachel?
ACCIDENTALLY.
That is correct. Who served as America's first Secretary of State? Andrew?
Jefferson.
Correct. From 1790 to 1793, Thomas Jefferson. In which stage of mitosis does chromatin condense into chromosomes and the nuclear envelope break down? Rachel?
Prophase 1.
Prophase is correct. Leading to metaphase is prophase. Correct. Corruption plagued the presidential administration of what former general who is pictured on the $50 bill? Ryan?
Grant.
Ulysses S. Grant is correct. Pro wrestling legend Dusty Rhodes was known as the American Dream. Who is his son, the WWE star known as the American Nightmare? Ryan? That is incorrect. Louisa? That would be Cody Rhodes. A sharp tap on the patellar tendon stretches the quadriceps muscle, causing an involuntary reaction. What two-word term is commonly used to describe that reaction? Rachel?
Muscle spasms?
That is incorrect. Louisa? Seamus?
Knee jerk.
Knee jerk is correct. What is the first verb in the text of the Pledge of Allegiance? Cody?
Pledge.
That's correct. In 1975, a former U.S. Attorney General, John Mitchell, and two presidential aides, John Ehrlichman and H.R. Haldeman, were sentenced to jail terms for their roles in what national scandal? Ellison?
Watergate?
That is correct. The Watergate break-in in June of 1972. What is the SI base for measuring the amount of a substance? Ryan?
Volume?
That is incorrect. Louisa? Cody?
Water.
It would be mole. Although the 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz lost the Oscar for Best Picture to Gone with the Wind, the movie did win an Oscar for what song sung by Judy Garland? Ellison?
Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Correct. The color khaki was first used for uniforms in which nation's Afghan war in 1880? Andrew?
England.
That is correct, or Britain. In April of 1836, Sam Houston and 700 troops defeated Santa Anna's much larger army at what battle to win Texas's independence? Rachel?
The Alamo.
That is incorrect. Louisa? It was the Battle of San Jacinto. During the first millennium BC, Etruria became home to what Asiatic immigrants to Italy? Seamus?
The Etruscans.
Correct. It is possible that this Dallas computer billionaire and Reform Party candidate cost George H.W. Bush his presidential re-election bid in 1992. Name this philanthropist who died in 2019. Cody?
Mendel.
That is incorrect. Western Branch? Ellison?
Rockefeller.
It would be Ross Perot. And that buzzer is the end of our game. While our judges double check the final score, here's a reminder of how to stay connected with us here at Battle of the Brains.
Stay up to date with Battle of the Brains. Follow along as your favorite teams advance this season. Visit battleofthebrains.net to learn more. And follow the show on social at Battle of the Brains. As we continue round one in this current season of Battle of the Brains, join us next week as we welcome First Colonial High School versus Pocosin High School.
And here is the final score for today's match, determining which of our teams will continue on in this season's competition. Ending the match with a final score of 175 points, our team from Louisa High School. Great job today by Cody, Connor, Jacob, and Seamus. Going on to the next round, our winners today with a final score of 355 points. Congratulations to our team from Western Branch High School. Ellison, Rachel, Andrew, and Ryan. Great job today. And we will see you in the next round. I'm Cheryl Miller. Thank you for watching and playing along here on Battle of the Brains, and we'll see you back here next week. Great match, teams.
Game over. Thank you for watching Battle of the Brains, presented by Virginia 529. Goodbye.